And after subsiding a bit for a few days, the protest in downtown Colorado Springs geared back up today.
And as you just saw, some folks are at City Hall tonight, but today's actions were highlighted by a march to the Police Operations Center. That's where we find News Channel 13's Scott Harrison tonight. And Scott, today's protest had something of a local theme to it.
Well, we knew the demonstrations would be focused around City Hall to remember local people who died after shows of police force. But what we didn't expect was for protesters to come back here to the Police Operations Center, police headquarters, after last week's confrontations and the use of tear gas and pepper spray. Thursday's protest began with a nod to Devon Bailey, killed last summer, along with others who have died during encounters with Springs police. A cousin of Devon Bailey, who was with him the day he died fleeing from police, was thankful for the support.
At first, when it first happened, it was kind of weird, but after a while I seen it was for the good. You know, everyone was doing it for the right reason, not a bad reason, not putting them down.
One organizer is a former political candidate who hopes these protests will result in greater accountability for law enforcement and fewer cases of suspects or citizens being killed by what they believe is excessive force.
They're not all African American, and we recognize that it is not just the loss of black life, but black life is extremely important in this city. It is anyone whose life is being cut off prematurely. So this event is a collective relief of grief.
After an hour-long rally at City Hall, the protesters marched south down Nevada Avenue in rush hour traffic, Black Lives Matter, carrying cardboard coffins to symbolize victims. Their destination? The Police Operations Center, the site of violent confrontations last week that led to a short-term citywide curfew. After the marchers arrived at the Police Operations Center and laid the cardboard caskets out at the front entrance, the entire crowd then crossed over the police barricades and gathered at the entrance. There have been a lot of confrontations here in the past, but initially at least, there was no response from police. In fact, we didn't see police anywhere around the protesters. They were allowed to rally outside police headquarters, and 30 minutes later, they marched back to City Hall. No confrontation, and hopefully another day closer to achieving their goals. And tomorrow we'll see if the law enforcement accountability bill in the legislature gets passed before lawmakers wrap up this year's session. And we'll also see what effect that may have on protests as we approach a third week of demonstrations. We're live at the Police Operations Center tonight in Colorado Springs. Scott Harrison, KRDO News Channel 13.